This week, the Grills scratched the surface of the topic of the portrayal of women in the media. Cue the intro music.
Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to Geek Grills, a podcast about geeky things hosted by women. I'm September, also known as 9 of 12, and I'm here with my co-host, The Jen.
Hello.
And Chris, also known as Ludescence.
Hello.
So, Grills, what have you been up to?
Oh god, so much Pokemon Go. Lots of Pokemon Go still, which is good. I finally hit level 10, so now I'm starting to see more interesting Pokemon on my little adventures. It has definitely got me to walk. I mean, yesterday I was like, what? There's a Meowth nearby? Or Meowth? How's it pronounced? Meowth? Okay. So I saw his shape, and I was like, oh, I need him. And so I turned on the thing, and I'm like, my neighbors probably think I'm crazy because I'm standing in front of my apartment, like spinning in circles. And my dog is like, are we taking a walk or not? Like, what are we doing? And I'm like, hold on, mommy needs to know which way I go. But finally, I did manage to hunt it down, walk all the way to the gym down the street. But apparently it was registering as nearby from that far away. But it did get me to walk. And I did catch that little guy. Saw some other Pokemon goers on the way. That was pretty funny. We all kind of did like the look at one another, nod, you know, a greeting, and then carry on about our Pokemoning business. That was cool. Lots of heroes. I'm back down to Bronze 5. Oh, sad. But I have some plans and some strategies. Also, shout out to Stormcast. They had Kyle Ferguson on last night. It's a great podcast. And they gave a lot of really good pointers for those of us that are in the dumps as far as the ranking goes. So I'm going to give a try to some of those strategies. I've been working on it, trying to kind of get out of Bronze 5. But it's going to be an adventure.
Awesome.
Yeah, Kyle Ferguson's awesome.
Yeah, he is the man. I just like how he takes things that are really complex and gives you, like, an actual usable unit information. Because it's one thing to explain how to do something. There's another way to explain it in a way that allows that person to make that information applicable. And that is a skill that not everybody has. And he definitely can explain things in that way. So it was definitely cool.
And he ain't too hard to look at.
I mean, it's true. You've got three. Well, last night it was Dills, Mick Montgomery, and Kyle Ferguson. So it was just three dudes with beards, which is always fun. Apparently, you have to have a beard to be on Stormcast. On top of that, I got my hands on a used 3DS. Since I have not been able to locate mine in quite a bit of time, so that I'll pick up Monster Hunter's Generations, which came out on Friday. Sweet. So I've been playing the crap out of that, and then I also picked up Final Fantasy Explorers because I hadn't played it, and it was super cheap. Got it pre-owned. Also fun. That's been fun. Oh, and I got a moose. Ha! World of Warcraft got my moose.
Yay!
I got my moose before the pre-patch. Yes, that was my goal. Handled that this weekend. So I just have been playing all the games, apparently. Just all the games and all the things.
Right on.
Yeah, it's been fun.
How about you, Chris? Yeah. That's another person.
Yeah. So in Hearthstone, I got my Golden Shaman. Yay. Now I don't have to ever play Shaman again. Yay.
Woohoo! I don't like Shaman. I kind of feel...
No, I actually do enjoy Shaman, but right now it's... yeah... I got my 500 games in. I'm ready for a different class. So, got to rank 11, and then I dropped back down to rank 18. So I don't know if I should be pissed at Hearthstone or myself. Probably both.
Oh, that's so rough. That's a good climb, though. 11? You got time. You have 11 days left. Or 12.
I don't have time.
And you get the swag.
Oh,
so.
man.
It took over 8 hours to get to rank 11, and then the next day I just lost every single game except for maybe 2. I don't understand. I don't understand where like I can go one day and get up to 11, and then the next day I lose everything.
That was me in Heroes. I was like up, I was like climbing, and I was like, yeah, I'm climbing. Look at me, I'm getting out. And then no. And then I lost every game. Every game.
I don't get it. I really don't.
Bummer. Well, I too have been playing a ton of Pokemon Go. I'm at level 19. I went to a really freaking cool event in Charlotte at Petra's called Potions and Pixels. It was at a bar, so you could drink and play games. They had, I counted, 23 different screens going. All through the bar, through the back hall.
Different one.
In the back room. Yeah.
No, different
They
what?
had...
Different games, I think.
Screens.
Oh, screens. What do you mean?
Different games.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like, they had a pull-down movie screen. They had little old-school televisions with Atari 2600 connected to it. They had a whole bunch of Xbox, PlayStation. They were playing Mario Kart. They were playing Golden Eye. They were playing Ninja Turtles. They were playing Rocket League. I mean, just everything. There were like 23 different games going all the time. And then you walk around in the back patio, they had like a giant Connect 4. They had a giant Jenga. And then you keep going through the back door of the bar into the other rooms, and they had tables set up, and people were playing tabletop games. There was like, I'd say about 150 different tabletop games you could just pick up and play with people there. So it was really awesome.
Okay.
I had a fantastic
That sounds really
time.
fun. That sounds like the game room at conventions I've been to, but I've never seen one as like a standalone event like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's apparently going to be their Thursday thing, and I definitely want to go again. I played a game for the first time. It was called Snake Oil.
Was it a tabletop game or video game?
Yeah,
Or did you
tabletop.
sell
Yeah,
things
were
to
you
people?
selling some snake oil?
It's basically the idea that everyone gets 7 cards and you pick 2 of them. They all have a word on them, and then one of the players is the judge, and it goes in a round, kind of like when you play Cards Against Humanity, and they say who they are, and they have a card where they can choose. Like I could choose that I was a priest or I was a spy. So that's how you go, all right, I'm a priest, sell me something. And people put together a couple of cards and they come up with something, they make a pitch. And people were just jumping right into character and doing their infomercials and trying to sell me, a child trap and a doubt towel.
Oh my gosh, this sounds silly. Yeah. That sounds fun.
It was silly and it was fun. And I got to meet some really cool people. And I caught a graveler while I was there. So bonus. I also went to see Ghostbusters. My husband and I went on Friday in the afternoon. Well, it wasn't going to be crowded, and it wasn't. There was one other person in the theater with us.
So, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up. Totally loved it.
Oh.
Great time, laughing out loud. I definitely have a favorite character. I love her, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it, because I could imagine Lori Petty in this role immediately.
Cool. I'm definitely going to check
So
it out.
the engineer is like, my new favorite. So that's all we've been up to. What's next? Geek Grapevine. Jen, you want to talk to us about the new Overwatch?
So we touched on it a little bit last week, but I wanted to make sure that we actually kind of went full bore on it a little bit more. Actually highlight some of it, because some of it's kind of some of her mechanics are interesting. So Anna was revealed as the first new character in Overwatch, and she's a support. She's a range support, and she has kind of a cool functionality. So she's got her primary weapon is a biotic rifle. So the gun fires long range. And so what's interesting about this is when she fires a heal sniper, because if she hits allies, it heals them. But it's only a small hitbox. It's like only a small, not hitbox, but, what's the word? Like, it's just a small area of effect or small area of damage. And it heals, or if it's an enemy that's caught in the area of effect, then it'll do them. So it's basically like you get to headshot your teammates and heal them. So that's kind of cool. So I'm interested to check her out. She sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's a mechanic I haven't really seen before. Maybe I'm missing out, but I've never really seen a mechanic like it. But it's fun. I like the idea of being a long-range heal sniper. Could be fun. So, I think, I know she's on... Yeah, probably a little bit. Anytime you're talking about small areas of effect, sniper type stuff, it's going to be a little bit higher skill cap, or higher skill set needed. But no notice on exactly why or was when, but I know it's on the test realm already. But also from a standpoint, people who are interested in the Overwatch lore should check it out, because she's actually the mother of Farah, one of the other characters in the game. So just from a lore standpoint, and then there's also some other ties to her and Soldier 70, and I think Reaper was the other one. So we haven't gotten full information, but those are the teases we've seen so far. So it should be pretty cool. Anyway, I definitely will give her a shot when she's out in the game. It's weird, like, I don't know what to say, because, like, in Heroes of Storm, I would say, oh, when they're available in the Nexus, or when they're available in Azeroth, or whatever. I don't know what I say with Overwatch. When they're in the game. When they rejoin Overwatch. There you go.
Overwatch. Chris, you want to talk about the Go wristband?
No, you can go ahead.
Oh, I got it. Here, I put this one up there.
Thank you. Yeah, you put it there.
No worries.
I didn't even read about
so the Pokemon Go wristband, this is crazy. So apparently, it's a cool idea. It is a wristband so you can keep your phone in your pocket, and keep catching your little Pokemon Go monsters. So the idea is really great, and I was like, oh, that's so smart. I totally want to buy one. And then I went to go pre-order it, because it doesn't come out until August. I think even late August was what was noted. And I was excited about that. And I'm like, oh, $35, that's totally affordable. Well, boys and girls, boys and grills, apparently, they're already sold out. The pre-sales are all sold out everywhere. And then people are reselling their pre-sales for somewhere between $100 to $250 a pop. So there you go.
Oh, of course.
So I'm a little sad, because I would totally get this wristband, because I would love to put my giant phone in my pocket and just keep catching Pokemon on my walk. But instead, I suppose I will just have to continue to keep my phablet in my face. So yeah, that's a thing.
Fantastic. Well, in other Pokemon Go news, I have rumors and I have some confirmed things. Niantic has confirmed updates that will be happening every 2 weeks, but not exactly what. So that could include trading or just trying to fix the servers. That would be nice. There is speculation that somebody said they talked to someone from Niantic, and they said if you are gathered with a group of people, that more rare types are likely to show up. However, I was at a Go Walk last night, and there were hundreds of people downtown, and I didn't get anything more rare than usual. So I don't know if I'm buying into that from my experience. Rumor has it that in December, which kind of makes sense for keeping the game alive, you don't want to release all the Pokemon at once, but maybe every 6 months, that they will release the Johto, which is, I think, Silver and Gold. Like the Gen 2 Pokemon should be
really
expected
cool.
in December.
So that'll keep it fresh, hopefully, too, because that's the whole thing, too, is that there's been a lot of concern, like, okay, is this just going to be a flash in the pan, or what are they going to do to keep it fresh? Because that's what happened with Ingress, I think, is it was like, okay, some of us are blue, some of us are green, and yep.
Well, that should come to a head. The other thing that's been talked about is the special raids, like they showed in that initial trailer with Mewtwo in Times Square, that they have it a little more worked out now. In the trailer, it looked like everyone just got the rare when the battle finished, but apparently it's going to be more team-oriented as far as the raids, and focused on each team, red, blue, and yellow, each have a legendary bird associated with the team.
Right.
And like Articuno is blue.
I don't know, this is like because all the other teams suck. I mean, are awesome too. Just not as awesome as Team Mystic.
Apparently there's gonna...
That could be cool.
Apparently there's gonna be raids, where it's an event and you go and battle with the other team, and then everyone on the participating team that wins the raid will get that legendary. So I hope that's true. That would be freaking awesome. Although in my town, I'd have to drive somewhere else probably for Team Blue, because we can't hold gyms for more than a couple hours in this town. It just constantly rotates, but it's like every night, I think all the college kids at our community college, they're all Valor. It's like, I've noticed, like, somewhere between, around midnight, 2 a.m, every gym in town goes red. They just come wipe everybody up.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We have some key spots in town I've been starting to notice, especially when I Uber, because I drive Uber on the side. So when I drive around, it's interesting to see what parts of town are different colors and what have you. So it's kind of neat.
So what does that mean when a gym gets red?
Okay, so it means that basically, so with the mechanics in the game, with the gym, you can own that gym and you leave your Pokemon there. Like, you leave a Pokemon there. The strength of the gym is dependent on people going up. If you go up, and every gym has a reputation, and if you battle with somebody of your same color, you can boost the reputation, making that gym harder to take over for a different color. But basically, you park your Pokemon there. So, for example, the gym up the street, I have my Pokemon parked there, and I know that somebody went and beat my butt when my Pokemon shows up back in my Pokemon inventory as needing to be revived. And I'm like, oh, somebody went and took our gym, so I have to go back out there and take over the gym again by battling the Pokemon that they have stationed at the gym.
And it's good to go with a group. It's another really good social thing. You can communicate with other people on your team somehow. And because when you build the rep of a gym at certain tiers, you get another spot. Like level 1, you can leave 1 Pokemon there. Level 2, you leave 2. And so you can leave up to, as many people as you can get to show up, train it up, and leave a Pokemon there. And then if you check in the store, there's a little shield you can click on and you get rewards for taking over.
That's right. When you hold a gym, you get coins too. That's the reason. That's the big motivation. That's totally the word I meant. That's the big motivation of holding a gym, is that for every day you hold the gym or whatever, you get Pokemon coins, which you can use towards items.
Okay.
It's like a currency builder.
And fun.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely. Like, I have a friend in California, and they're like a boyfriend-girlfriend duo, and they go out there and they're like, oh, that gym's down, so they go and they take their walks and take out the gyms that got taken by the other colors.
I was in a local park trying to take a gym last week, and I was really close to taking it, and this couple came over, and they're Team Yellow, and they saw what I was doing, and we had met before out playing. And she's like, starts battling, and her boyfriend's like, what are you doing in September? I was like, don't worry about it. And she just actually fought and beat a Pokemon in there and ran and raised the gym rep enough that I could take it over. And then they left and went to another gym to fight so I could, keep it and rep it up. So that was pretty great.
Nice. That's fun. I think it's fun that there's a social aspect of it. So I have...
Oh, yeah, actually, I wanted to say, last week I got mammed.
Right.
This week, somebody saw me on the Facebook group, came over to help me put something in a gym, and then actually looked at me and said, no offense, but I'm really surprised if you see someone your age playing.
And how old was this person? I think you saw what my response to that was.
Probably early 20s.
I basically, my recommendation was to punch her in her judgmental millennial face.
Oh, shit.
I guess I'm technically a millennial, sort of. But whatever, who cares? I remember when I worked, one of my first jobs was at Fry's, which is not a grocery store, but an electronics store in California. It's actually both, so I have to clarify that because here in Tucson, Fry's are grocery stores. Weird. Anyway, I worked there, and I remember it was when Diablo, I think it was still, maybe Diablo 2 had just come out. I don't know. Anyway, this woman came in, and she was like, I know I'm a teacher and I'm a grandma, but my grandson got me into this and it's so much fun and we play together and I'm playing this character and I really love it. And my response to her wasn't like, oh really? I'm so surprised somebody your age is buying. It was, that's awesome. I am so glad that you're enjoying this game. Yeah. That's cool. Ugh.
I also took some people to task. The local newspaper put out an article and people were in the comments section, as they are wont to do, saying how horrible and disrespectful it was for the graveyard to be such a hot spot. And I was like, you know what? Those people put monuments there because they wanted to be visited. Some of them are shaped like benches. I had been to funerals in that graveyard and didn't know there was a war memorial there.
Yeah, so some of it I feel like, okay, so that's been a big point of controversy too, because I know that came up with the Holocaust Museum, right? And so that they requested to be removed so there's no longer people catching Pokemon at the Holocaust Museums. Totally get that. But the cemetery one, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I mean, but I guess I also grew up in my family where we went to go visit when I lived in the area near the cemetery where my great grandmother is. I was very close to her, and she always went every week to take flowers to her sister's grave. So it's like just like a big part of our family culture. And I don't anything wrong with that. I think it's cool to go and pay respects and then do something fun when you're there. And I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
And people are looking at the monuments. I mean, specific monuments that are tagged. And I don't know. I just don't see any harm. It's not like the kids are in there vandalizing.
Yeah, if there's
as long as they're not vandalizing.
Yeah, definitely. Vandalism, absolutely not okay. Agreed.
And I drive through every day, and I've seen no vandalism. I've seen, actually a lot less of the flowers that clip on the top of stones. I see them all. They're all straight now. And I gotta wonder if the Go players are straightening that stuff out, because like wind whips through in a storm, and then everything's a mess. And it's been so tidy over there. And I don't know if it's Go people doing it, or maybe the workers there are being more conscientious because they're being watched.
I have a lot of friends with like mental health challenges, and like that's something that's always been like, that's a challenge for me too. I think there's a lot of us that have, issues there, and a lot of my friends that have like bipolar disorder or social anxiety or other challenging mental health conditions are really getting a lot out of Pokemon Go. It's gotten them to get out of their house, do something different other than just go to work, go home. And I think it's really a positive thing. I think it's cool.
Well, and I've been asked to, Sunday, there's an event in town, and there's a local group called Futures, and it's for helping with social skills and other life skills with folks, young people with Asperger's and on the autism spectrum. And I've been asked to help organize an event, and they were going to have it downtown. And I actually specifically said, let's move it over to Caldwell Park, which is a park that adjoins this graveyard. It's a lot of spots. You're not crossing city streets. It's safer. We can have a picnic at the shelter area. There are 2 gyms, one in the graveyard, one in the gazebo in the park. And I'm really, really looking forward to, helping them with this game. And I'm making sure that the other Go communities I'm part of on Facebook locally, they know this is going on, so that if an adult comes up and they're jumping up and down like the same as my 12-year-old does, excited about the Pokemon, it might be because they just think differently because they're on the spectrum, so they know that we're there. And a local pub has offered me some support. They're going to ice up my coolers for our water and stuff.
That's cool. See, I love stuff like that. Stuff like that makes me feel so warm and fuzzy, especially because there's so much negative crap going on in the world, and it's been really tough to deal with it. It's been nice to have this spot of positivity. Like, it's brought some people together at work that don't normally talk to each other because we're all playing Pokemon Go, and, like, that's cool. Oh, anyway, I could go on.
I love being tapped for it as like the resident geek that everybody, knows can handle the nerd things over there.
Like, hey, nerd
after
stuff.
Getting crap from the young person. I should have told her my Sandshrew keychain is probably older than she is. So.
Yeah, I love that. I saw that picture. I was dying. Oh, I love it.
I actually went and dug up another one. I have another of those keychains from back in the day at Burger King, and it's Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan. The one with the little baby in the pouch.
Oh yeah, so I have to, I know we have so much that we could talk about with Pokemon Go, but I have got to mention the new hero, the other of the new heroes that I know have already been announced, but Ariel, the hero from Heroes of the Storm, that we know is in production, because apparently Lunescence is a psychic. She knew that Gul'dan would have fear, which was totally correct. And also, when I was like, oh, we need another support hero, it's gotta be a support hero. But she was like, I don't know, she seems really all about laying down the damage, and that's her thing. Well, it turns out that we were both correct, because we're amazing. So, Ariel is a new hero, as we talked about, coming to Heroes of the Storm. She's the Archangel of Hope from Diablo, and the rumor is her mechanic is going to be, she's a ranged support, but her healing capabilities are going to be dependent on the damage that she and her allies deal. Boom.
So she's really going to suck on a team that doesn't have any damage then.
But she's going to be really awesome on a team with lots of damage or burst damage, I'm guessing. But we haven't gotten any info about the actual mechanics, so I guess we'll find out. It'll be interesting to see how things actually lay out. But from a conceptual standpoint, that could be cool. And I also get my wish because, oh my god, we needed another support, for real.
Absolutely did.
And
yeah, definitely. And that's what all the other Heroes of the Storm podcasts are talking about too, is okay, we need a support hero. Because we haven't had one since Morales, I believe.
Yeah, no, it's been a minute. So we definitely needed a support. And I don't know, and she's gorgeous. Oh man. Her art is so cool. She looks cool. The planned art that I've seen looks amazing. She is definitely Tyrael with boobs, which is interesting that they do have two heroes that look so similar. But yeah, I think she's cool. I think she's going to be neat. But I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. No news yet on when she comes to the Storm, or to the Nexus, but she seems pretty cool. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really curious how much damage she can deal. Because if she can be a support that deals a bit of damage, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, Karazim's kind of that way, and he's been successful, and people choose not. So I think it could be interesting. Plus, I love when they get me some chicks in there. I always like that we get some ladies. Some ladies that are nice.
Oh. Even if they're creepy ladies like Zagara.
That's true. I had to explain to somebody that she was a lady. They were like,
really?
So we got to get this boy, and I was like, he's not a, but that's Zagara. She's the queen of the Zerg. Like, she's a lady.
So the pre-expansion to Legion patch dropped in WoW today. I logged in. It showed me my friend Drolik was texting me, oh, this trailer is so cool. I'm like, I saw that at BlizzCon last year. But I was able to briefly finally get it working. And so apparently I can play. They haven't put it up to the new requirements yet that will lock me out until I get a new machine. And an achievement popped up. And that I noticed from that is that the new transmog system is live.
Oh God, I'm so stoked about it.
So I'm excited about that, but I am all my
so
talents.
excited about transmog. Finally having a journal so that I can have all the stupid things that I spent weeks going back to farm, so I could have the perfect outfits. And now I don't have to keep them all in my bags and my void storages and everything. Oh, it's going to be great.
Well, as soon as you log in,
I have been waiting.
You're going to be a fashionista.
And to be fair, like, we're recording this and I'm like, okay, as soon as we're done, I get to log in. Woohoo!
Now, let's launch into our main discussion topic this week. We're going to discuss the portrayal of women in media. I understand Jen was absolutely incensed. And you get to go first.
So
what set you off?
really, really like Criminal Minds. It's a TV show. Just to give you guys some background, it's a division of the FBI, or in the setting of the show, it's the division of the FBI called the Behavioral Analysis Unit, and they basically target like serial killers, spree killers, whatever, like specialized profiling situations. And they get on their jet and they go wherever they're needed to handle or the thing is. They get tipped off because there's like, oh, multiple murders of the same type. Oh, obviously it's a serial killer. Off we go to figure out the profile of the person, and then I really like it, and the reason I like it is because usually it's very factual. I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, I get it. There's always going to be some things where it's like, oh, that's not exactly how it would happen. But there's definitely a lot of factualness to it, or factual aspects to it. And I like the fact that they do kind of talk about some like psychological profiling, and they talk about the psychology behind some of these things. And that's one of the reasons I really like the show. And in the show, there are several women that are on the team that are awesome and badass, like moms and being cool FBI agents too. And they're really cool. And anyway, so I was watching the new season dropped on Netflix. Cause I'll be honest, again, cord cutter, went back, watched the whole season. I'm watching this episode and I'm remarking to myself, wow, the woman in this episode is heavier. And I was like, how interesting that they've got this heavy set actress. Like, interesting. Okay, that's cool. I like that they're doing that. And then it kind of turns out that she is the killer. And I'm like, all right, cool. And she's jealous of her sister, who's, of course, drop dead gorgeous, who's getting engaged to a drop dead gorgeous dude that she's absolutely obsessed with. And I'm like, all right, this is getting kind of tropey and awkward and not what I'm used to dealing with from them. And then as things go on, we realize that she is talking to her figment, like the figment of her imagination of this guy that she's infatuated with, because she basically is having like a psychotic break. So at one point, one of the FBI agents in the show is like, oh, antidepressants that look like the bottle is completely full. She's heavier set. She must also have PCOS. And then without taking her antidepressants, she's gone into a psychotic break to where she thinks she's talking to him and that he's telling her to kill these women that are hitting on him at the bridal show, at the bridal floral shop that her sister owns. Yeah. So
from PCOS.
I mean, basically. Well, and also, okay, so here's the thing that pissed me off.
They may have well said, oh, she's on the rag, for God's sake.
Somebody taking antidepressants who goes off their antidepressants, yes, there can be results. But really, did we need to have it be the one time in the damn show that you have a heavy-set girl and then you show her literally being quote-unquote hysterical and going into this crazy psychotic break? Like, it really pissed me off. I was like, first of all, it's oversimplified. Second of all, it's just one-dimensional. And I just got so frustrated because normally I've come to expect a lot more from that show. One of the main characters in the show is a tough, badass dude, but they go into his history of being molested by his basketball coach when he was in middle school or whatever, or early high school or whatever, which I thought was always so interesting. I was like, how challenging to like show that aspect of like a strong guy in a vulnerable state, but that character is still such a badass. You know, it doesn't diminish him when he's like, hey man, I've been through this. That's part of who I am. It's not who I am. I've had so much respect for the show that this episode absolutely killed me. I have not watched another episode since. I can't handle it. I'm just like, really? Like, heavy chick gets off her antidepressants and goes nuts and starts killing people. Like, really?
Did you write to them?
I have started many strongly worded opinions. And, you know, to be honest with it, partly part of the reason that this probably hits home more than maybe any other thing is, you know, I'm pretty open about it. I have PCOS. I take antidepressants. I've taken antidepressants for years. It's a big part of my health regimen. And, you know, just like anybody who's like, oh, I have this disease, that's something that I have. But if I stopped taking my antidepressants, I'm not going to believe that people are talking to me and start killing people.
No, that's
a psychotic break. I mean, psychosis is an entirely different category.
It's a completely different thing than depression. Completely different thing. And a hormonal imbalance is not going to cause me to seeing things. That's psychosis. Like you said, that's a different thing. We're talking about like schizophrenia. You're talking about something that's not even involved with PCOS or depression for that matter. I know.
So not only reflecting poorly on women and using, I mean, actual hysteria from the way it was named, which is ridiculous. But then also people just with mental health issues, and people could go ahead and make, if it's an otherwise intelligent show, then they're making assumptions about their friends all of a sudden that, oh my God, what if they're off their meds?
You see, exactly. And that's what bothered me so much about it. It really just hit a nerve, and it just made me think about, like, how do I see women represented? How do I see people, do I see women like me represented in media? And it made me just stop and really reflect on that. And so that's why I was like, oh my gosh, we got to talk about this. Because I watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of TV shows. I read comic books. I read books. I have a lot of media coming at me where I see women portrayed. And I was thinking, how often do I see a woman like me? And I realized that this is the first time in a really, really long time that I can think of that there's a woman being represented who is like me. And that I could, associate and be like, oh, that's somebody who's like me. And then she's being shown as a psychotic murderer. And I'm like, well, that's reassuring.
Well, go see Ghostbusters. That'll make you feel better.
I do.
Maybe don't look at articles about what happened to Leslie Jones on Twitter.
Oh my gosh, I was reading about that last night. So I follow her on Twitter, right? And all of a sudden I'm like, what is this that's happening? So that's a whole other can of worms. But yeah, so this whole thing kind of got me to step back and say, okay. And I'm starting to try to think about times when I've seen women like me represented in media in a way that's aspiring versus not. And the sad thing is, I have a hard time thinking of them. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, are there examples that you can think of where you're like, oh, yeah, they actually portrayed women in such a great way? I don't know. And that really bothered me a lot to think about.
Are you thinking of like individual actresses?
Well, sure. I mean, and that's one thing that like, I mean, now we finally are allowed to have, there's like an old joke with film nerds. Like when I went to college, I got a lit degree, but I went to a hippie school. So I also took a lot of film classes because film is the new literature. And when I was hanging out with my hippy dippy, film nerd friends, one of the things that we'd always say is like, oh, this is a movie from the 80s where you didn't have to be pretty to be in movies. And it's so, some of it's like so true. Or like the 70s, like, oh yeah, it's before you had to be pretty. Because for a long time, you did just have to be a good actor. Yeah, some of them were also aesthetically, that aesthetic, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, I don't want to say that they're just what the aesthetic of, you know what I'm trying to say, the perfect in society.
Symmetrical Barbie people.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what it is now. In order to be an actor or an actress, it's hard to, and so I feel like in the last couple of years, we've started to see some bigger girls come out. Some names that come to mind are, of course, Melissa McCarthy. She doesn't care. Like, she doesn't care what size she is. She's hilarious. Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely respect for that. The chick from Pitch Perfect, I cannot remember her name right now, but
Rebel Wilson.
Yes, I love her because same thing. She's just who she is, and that's who she is. Even who was the one that was in Trainwreck? Amy Schumer, where she's like, yeah, they wanted me to lose weight, and I was like, what? Like, why? Why do you want me? Like, I'm this twig bitch. Like, I don't need to lose weight. Like, that's basically what she said.
Well, there are some that have been around a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Roseanne Barr is a good example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah, and then I also think of a
wide variety of roles.
And then the chick that was on The Practice, I can never remember her name either, but the one with all the earrings.
And the girl who played Precious.
And the girl that played Precious. So there are some examples of like heavier women, but and that's nice to see that. But it's not just about that. It's also how they're portrayed. That there's just overall, it's just so many of these characters are one-dimensional. Understand how it is. Are there just no women writing? Are there not enough women writing and producing the media? I feel like there's a lot of female writers out there and whatnot, but why is it that they're so one-dimensional? I don't get it.
I think there's an unfortunate thing in mass, in media where it's glamorized. It's what people want to look at, and this, whatever control groups they have that look over things and panels, and the way they react gets, or assumed they're going to react to something gets put over authenticity.
Well, and it is part of human nature too. We do want to look at pretty things. So that's part of the issue. But to misrepresent mental illness the way that show did, that's not cool. Because
that's just dangerous.
Yeah, there's
society.
Already a huge stigma about mental illness and it not being as important as something physical, or just the stigma of if somebody has a mental illness, they're just not. Just to misrepresent that, it's not good. That's not cool.
It's really, really upsetting. Yeah. I've noticed a lot on the internet lately. But no one uses the R word anymore, right? Like, nobody says, "Oh, you're retarded," because that's not
We
PC.
used to in the 90s.
People are using autistic instead.
Really?
Or gay.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
All the
gay
time.
is always one that's been I have to say, gay is definitely, and that's been one that I struggled with. Like, that has been one that I've always had time with because I hear it said around me. And of course, as somebody who's part of the LGBTQI, seriously, are we done with letters yet, community? I'm sorry. I respect it. I'm part of it. But seriously, it gets to a point where I'm just like, I don't know if I'm getting all the letters. I don't want to tick somebody off. But I do feel like Little Man is upset that I didn't get all the letters in. I must have missed one, and he's very offended. I triggered him. That's the other thing, too, is that, like, the sensitivity that has to be there. What level is there? You're just being PC, or you're just taking it too far. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I do feel like there are some times, we talked about this a little bit with the whole Terrence M thing with DreamHack, where, maybe there's some where you're just kind of like, woman up, deal with it. Like, it's not a big deal. But then there's some times where I just have to go, all right, that's kind of crosses that line. I don't want to hear it all the time. And, like, one of them I don't like is the F word. Not the word fuck. I use that word all the time ad nauseum. The other F word, that means kindling or a cigarette or also a gay man. Mm-hmm. I don't allow the use of that in my house. I don't like it. And I've had people who are like, oh, whatever, it's not a big deal. And he's like, oh, I'm going to say it anyway. I'm like, cool. Well, you have two choices. You stop saying it and leave my house. And he was like, oh, it's not just your, and whatever. I was living with roommates at the time. He's like, oh, it's not just your house. And I was like, hey, all right. Well, I'll tell you what then. You can either stop using that word in the house, or I'll give you a 1-hour lecture about how that word became associated with gay people. And, I'm sure you'll really enjoy that. Or you could just not say that word in my house. I mean, that's a thing. I don't.
And the thing with women that goes beyond, I was actually reading, I can't remember who the actress was, so they just put something out. There's apparently still a huge pay disparity with women in the movies.
Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And not just the disparity there, but also the fact that, like, men can be, like, 60 or 65, and then you pair them with an actress that's, like, 20 or 25, but then once she gets up to, like, 30, they're like, ooh, we're not looking for an older woman for this film. I'm like, really? An older woman? Because you're pairing her up with George Clooney. Like, really?
Have you seen the Amy Schumer bit about aging in actresses?
No, but I'm sure I will love it because I love Amy Schumer. Watch Trainwreck. If you haven't seen it, it's such a great movie. Watch it.
Yeah, I'll find that for you. For women in media too, like we can directly target Ms. Hillary Clinton as well, because I know. Man. I hear people saying things like, well, I don't want her to be president because when she's on the rag, she's going to like press the proverbial red button, or, she's just going to be hysterical.
Yeah. And that's always been one of those things that just pisses me off. It's like, as opposed, well, that's the whole thing. Like, women get hysterical, men get righteously and rightfully angry. And I guess it bothers me when these stereotypes are just, our girls are programmed with this information when we have bad media out there. And this media, like I said, the one thing that just really nails it is that this is the times when I branch out. Because, like, when I stay in my geeky universe, I feel like it's good. Like, there's good stuff in my geeky universe. You know, Blizzard's always done a great job of having strong female characters in their games. Love it. I look at The Walking Dead. There's some badass bitches in Walking Dead. You know, Michonne, Carol. That's awesome. That's fucking awesome.
They do tend to sex them up a little bit.
I mean, sure. But they sex up the dudes, too. Because they know they've got gay guys watching their shows.
And all the girls that
I mean, let's be honest.
And all the girls that have crushes on Daryl.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I love me some Daryl. But, like, I always think about Game of Thrones, too. And even when we had Suki. That show. True Blood. I'm like, oh, it's bad that all I could think of is Suki. But with True Blood, like, again, you had some females that were portrayed there very strong. You know, you've got Lafayette portrayed as a character that's there that was really cool character that was really strong and like, F you, I'm gay, so what? Like that scene, if you've never seen the scene with him in the diner serving a burger, that scene is amazing. Love it. But you know, just kind of going to just how one-dimensional, when I get back to like primetime television, I just couldn't believe how one-dimensional, and I really only, most of the time, I feel I find it in those, you know, in those, just in those primetime shows, in those shows that are being sent out to millions and millions of people, but not so much when I stay in my shows that are more, again, I hate to say it, but like nerd culture shows tend to show a broader range of humanity, I think.
I think we've come a long way, and we have a long way to go. And it does make sense. It follows to me that in nerd culture, we're going to be a little step ahead on that. Especially because when you're looking at target audience, you're looking at who you're selling to stuff to with commercials on TV, and then you're looking at something like the gaming community where, you know, women are genuinely, you know, half, at least.
Except to the boys who don't actually think that girls game.
Well, they're just statistically wrong, so...
Wait, girls play video games?
Yeah, I know, it's really weird. It's this new phenomenon that's been happening ever since were video games to play.
So, anyone else have anything to say on that? Oh, I do. I didn't get the research sent to me, so I forgot. But apparently, I was talking to a friend at an event the other night, and she said that Magic: The Gathering is also in on this with changing portrayal of women. There's a new expansion in that coming out, and there's like 3 big warrior tribes that, I mean, that's what they do, they raise warriors, and they're all led by women.
Nice.
See, I love that. Like, that's one of the things I really liked about, I know we talked about it ad nauseum probably. I've used that word twice in the show. Bad, Jen. Find new words.
You watch out. It might actually get nauseous.
I know, right? When Luna and I talked about Warcraft, that was one thing that we definitely highlighted. And again, I know I mentioned Blizzard always does a great job of it, but it was great to see a strong female orc, and she's a badass. I mean, Drak is a badass. She's cool, and I love that they portrayed her really well. And I was like, how bad is it that I have to go watch a movie where it's not even a woman, but an actual orc, and I'm like, yeah, that's a badass chick. Like, come on, give me some more. Like, you know, like there's that urge to see yourself reflected in stories and to go, oh, I'm in this story, not just because I can sympathize or have compassion for the character, but I can see myself in that situation. And there's nothing more frustrating than thinking that you're getting that and then being just so startled by what they're actually showing. Because basically what they showed there is like, it just puts me back so many steps trying to explain, well, yeah, you know what? I have hormonal imbalances, but that doesn't mean I'm a psychopath. I take an antidepressant. That doesn't mean if I stop taking it, I'm going to turn into a psychopath. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me. And I think, maybe that is bigger than just portrayal of women, but it's also portrayal of, I guess, really anything that's not, let's be honest, white male. I mean, I hate to take it there, but that's the whole, what do they call it? The white man's burden, is that you are the norm, you're the most represented. You can go on, and there's always going to be a white guy in everything. Always.
Absolutely. There's a lot of, pawning stuff off as women just are crazy. Whenever we have an expression of emotion or really get passionate about an opinion too, it's dismissed out of hand way too often. So did you want to hit on this pinup art and how you feel about that? I noticed you made a note.
Yeah, what do you guys think of? So the thing that I found on the internet, somebody decided to draw sexy Disney villains as pinup art, like pinup fan art. Personally, I don't really have an issue with pinup art and things like that, because usually they're done really tastefully.
I love the aesthetic of pin art. So I think anything that...
Yeah, so what do you guys think of, is it sexualizing? Is it perverting? What does something like this do for, just women characters?
I don't have a problem with this particular aspect, and I mean, just it's art, and these characters. I don't know. I own pint glasses with the DC girls in pinup art, and I'm a fan of burlesque, and I bought my husband a guitar strap with pinup girls on it and shirts that are like those bowling style shirts, but they have the stripe and has pinup girls in it. It's an aesthetic I appreciate. I mean, I was a Betty Page fan back when I was a goth, and she actually was part of a movement where it wasn't just sexualizing. It was a boldly I will not have shame statement that she was making at the time that still exists. I mean, there's a lot of, you can look at it as hypersexualizing something, or you can look at it like, you know what? You are allowed to be sexy. You are allowed, and no matter what size you are, I've seen a lot of great things done with women of all sizes too, being drawn more than you're seeing them in TV shows, but you'll see them in fan art.
I love the aesthetic of pin art, and I agree. Like Betty Page, that was about a movement. A lot of that is about empowering. I think there was this really cool art project that was done. I'll add a link. And it was this art project where they got 100 women that were just naked at the Republican National Convention, as part of an art installment or an art installation. And this guy just did photography for an hour at sunrise. Where the Republican National Convention was outside, and they had these big giant mirrors, and they were just holding them up to the sun, basically just being hey, look. And they were all just women of all different sizes and shapes. And I just love that. I love to see that, people embracing who they are and embracing the positive things about them. And part of embracing that is seeing yourself portrayed positively. I think that reinforcement, we don't get it very often. I feel like there's a lot of reinforcement for, again, I hate to say it, guys, there's not necessarily that same amount of reinforcement out there for women. I mean, one of the reasons I've always loved Disney villains is because they're badass bitches. And that's where I have to go in Disney to find a badass sometimes. You know what I mean? Aurora's all right, I slept until some dude kissed me and I woke up, that story is not intriguing to me. But I love Ursula. I love Ursula.
She's Aurora was my favorite princess because she wasn't just I want to be rescued and live happily ever after. She found out she had to go marry a prince and got hysterical. She's like, no way, I'm in love with this dude I met in the forest. Stop it.
That's true. No, I give you that. That's true. But I guess I have to look at it and go, I love Ursula. That chick's you screwed me over? I will screw you over. Do you want to know what screwing over looks like? I will I will own you. And
yeah, Maleficent.
She's good too. I mean, but they're all awesome. I think it's cool to see them. I do think that I wish that they had done the pinup of Ursula true to her beautiful size, because that's one of the things I love. I have a really cool friend that has a really, she is a body image warrior. She's awesome. I went to high school with her, and she has a bunch of tattoos on her fat power arm, her fat lady power arm. I don't remember exactly what she calls it. She has a phrase for what she calls it, but it's just her arms is dedicated to tattoos of big, beautiful bodies. So she has an Ursula tattoo. She has the hippopotamus from Fantasia, I think it is, with the little tutu, you know? She's got her on there. And then she's got, I'm trying to remember what else she has, but just all these big, beautiful bodied people. And I have so much respect for that. And that's her just being like, F you, F what you think is best. I'm a badass. She's always looks on point. Her outfits are amazing. And she's in the makeup. She's really, really cool chick. But I, when I look at something like that, that's the first thing I think is, ugh, why isn't Ursula big? Like, why are we have to make her just big Ursula the way she is?
Well, my friend Dina Pendragon, who is Big Mama D from the burlesque house locally that I frequent, she did at Dragon Con, I think it was last year or the year before, and Ursula, that was freaking brilliant. Oh my God. I'll have to find the picture and send it to you guys. Maybe we can link it. And she won Best Villain.
You know, one of the things I love about RuPaul's Drag Race, I think, and one of the things I've always enjoyed about it is it does just embrace, like, you get big queens up there and that's fine. You get big queens and they do great. There's nothing wrong with that. And I guess that's just, again, that positivity that's there. And that's maybe part of the reason I like those kind of shows is maybe just because, and granted, I understand, I'm watching a crime drama about serial killers, so, you know, I get it, but it's just frustrating, because it's like we see, like, okay, 20 episodes in a row of some crazy dude doing crazy things, and then we get a chick, and it turns out she's a chick with PCOS on antidepressants, and so she's not taking care of herself, so now she's killing people because she thinks that she's talking to her sister's fiance.
Yeah, that's... sucks. Oh my God! You know what sucks more? My husband just caught Pikachu at the pub.
So what?
Damn it!
What do you guys?
Oh no!
Oh, I'm like, oh, you bastard!
So what do you guys think of the Dove body image ads that have been going on?
Love them. I do love
That
it.
makes me
I do
so
hate
happy.
the fact. I love that companies are embracing that. I think it's such a cool thing. I'm more likely to buy. There's nothing that bothers me more than when I pull up a catalog and I'm like, why am I going to buy from this catalog? I love when it's like plus size clothes only. All the models are like size 2. And you're like, really? That's one of the things I always liked about what Lane Bryant did is they always had plus size models. And that's cool. I think that's an important thing. I hate that stupid chick who has her stupid YouTube videos who's like, why do they have a plus size model in Sports Illustrated? You're supposed to be the epitome of beautiful and aesthetic, and this chick is plus size, so she shouldn't be in it. And I'm like, ugh.
And she was gorgeous.
And she was absolutely gorgeous. So gorgeous. I mean, ugh. But yeah, so I guess I just feel like I was just a little surprised by a show that I had a lot of respect for, that I thought tackled really complex issues, to be surprised to find that even they are susceptible to the same sad, one-dimensional thinking that I just didn't expect it from them, I guess, as part of it. And that's why it slapped face so hard, I think.
Well, I'm sorry, and you write that letter, damn it. And tell them you have a podcast and you're going to
be like, I told everybody in the world about how frustrated I was about their portrayal.
Let me know who we can tweet that at, man.
I know, right? I should write a letter, though. You're absolutely. I've started writing it like 5 times, but I really should. I think it's worthwhile to kind of set it along because I've watched the damn show for 9.5 seasons. I mean, come on.
Sorry they failed you. So let's get into Own Your Geek. Some fast facts about the grills. What is your favorite video game type, and some examples of your favorites? Loon?
I know we planned about doing this so long ago, and we've had so many Superfly shows that we're finally getting to it. So again, I was just going to clarify what the Own Your Geek was, just as a reminder, since it's been so many episodes since we did it. This is a way for us to just learn more about the three of us, so that you listeners can learn to know who we are. So anyway, sorry for the interruption. Yes, Loon, tell us about your favorite video game types.
Hello, dear listeners. Loon speaking. I am interrupting your regularly scheduled podcast to inform you that we've run into some slight technical difficulties. And by slight, I mean major. And by major, I mean, whoops, no more me. The recording software that we use decided it no longer wanted to continue recording my vocal track for the rest of the episode, so from here on out, there's just going to be silence on my end. Luckily, though, we still have Jen and Ember's vocal tracks, so the conversation will continue, but if anything sounds a little off, that would be why. I will do my best in post to try to fix things up so things aren't too crazy, but we do apologize. And since there's no business like show business, the show must go on. Back to your regularly scheduled program.
That was fast. So Jen, what's your favorite?
So I do love RPGs, anything social. I mean, obviously Blizzard games, they rule my life. I love them. But when I am alone, I do like to rock some of the old Final Fantasy games, like on my DS, for example, and other RPGs. Anything with good story and action if I'm on my own. But for the most part, video games are such a social thing for me. So I definitely like things that keep it social. So like World of Warcraft, because I'm in a guild, like that's all fun. I think that those are great things. But you know what? I have to say that I find that there are just so many options now. And I love that because I used to be like, oh, I only play real-time strategy games, or, oh, I only play first-person shooters. But now I really do play just about everything. I mean, I think the only thing I'm not really playing right now is an old base builder, like real-time strategy. I'm not playing any StarCraft, for example. And those are things I used to be really into just because I have so many other options. But yeah, I definitely like to do anything to interact with other human beings, which is weird, I guess. Some people escape into video games to get away from other people. I go to video games to connect with other people. I don't know, it's a big part of my life.
Right on. Well, although I've been technically playing video games forever, like since it was a machine that had pedal things you turned and it just had Pong and tennis, I'm not really good at them, especially platformers, but I always like them. As I mentioned before, the only game I've ever completed is Lego Harry Potter on the Wii. WoW was really the game that got the thing that finally made it into a hobby, where it was something I did daily. I branched into other types of games. But yeah, RPGs is really most of it for me, and for kind of the same reasons you were talking about, Jem, that MMOs, adventure types, it's the social interaction that is my favorite thing about gaming today.
Yeah, I respect that.
So girls, what are you most anticipating coming up?
So right now I am definitely not excited at all about the Legion pre-patch. I'm not at all looking forward to it. I haven't been waiting all day to play. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so excited. So because I was at work and because I couldn't play, I've been reading all of the all the notes that are available about the changes to the classes. So yes, Legion pre-patch is here. Expansion is coming soon. World of Warcraft. I'm so excited. I am such a nerd. I even read all the lore stuff about why they made certain changes to the classes. And I love it because I am a Blizzard fangirl. What? I'm so excited. Anyway, yes. Oh, and I'm also, I am resurrecting a werewolf LARP game here in Tucson. And so we're going to have our first meetup later in the month, and I'm excited about getting some people to pretend to be fuzzy werewolves. Hooray.
Do you dress up for werewolf LARPing?
I mean, I do a costume. I'll be storytelling, so I won't, but a lot of players do. I mean, they don't usually dress up they don't put a werewolf costume on, but they dress like their character would dress.
That sounds like a good use for those. I make little fuzzy ears on hairbands.
Yeah, it sounds like I need to get some little fuzzy ears from you.
Because you could slip them on and off.
We should also talk about some other costuming stuff you can help me with. Hint, hint. But
not
yes.
That good. We'll see.
No, so I'm excited about that. That'll be cool. But yeah, mostly just excited about World of Warcraft right now.
My Gutter Magic came in. It was released early. I started reading it today, and it's really great so far, and the art is really good, so I'm excited to finish it. That's about it for me. Other than, earlier I mentioned, at least the pre-release is working, so I can play WoW a little bit longer.
Hooray!
So, how's our Patreon looking, Jen?
Patreon is awesome as always. I have been updating the episodes like I'm supposed to. Hooray! So you can become one of our fabulous patrons at patreon.com/grills. I did discover that when you search Geek Grills, we didn't come up, and I fixed it. Hooray! Fixing things is fun. So now you can search on Patreon and easily find us. That being said, patreon.com/grills. Thank you to all of our patrons who support us, and remember, your feedback is always welcome. And as an update on that contest, we still have codes to give away for our next few listeners that sign up on Patreon. So for a list of the game codes that are available, check geekgrills.com. So yeah, check that out. And guess what? Guess what, ladies? We got another iTunes 5-star review. Hooray! We love these. They're free. Make everything happy and better for us. So, GT Wanderer says, the three women who make up the Geek Grills are witty and intelligent with great chemistry. They have interesting and thoughtful opinions on the diverse range of subjects they cover on the podcast. The recent addition of guests to the show has added greater breadth to their range of topics and depth to the information and entertainment they provide. Aw, I love it. So thank you. I definitely appreciate those 5-star reviews. They help with the visibility on iTunes. So please, it's free. If you enjoy us, if you're listening to this and you like the sound of our voices, please do a 5-star review if you can. Hooray.
All right. Well, you can find me at 9of12 on Twitter.
You can find me at The Jen Says on Twitter and streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheJenPlays on Sundays. And also, I might be having a little bit of a weekly rant session and a little mini cast I'm going to call The Jen Says. So look for that. I have already been recording some stuff and having a good time with that, getting some things off my chest.
Right on. Don't use up all your good stuff, though.
No, I save it for this, and then if I have leftovers, that's where it goes. So really, listen to The Jen's leftovers.
Well, everyone, stay tuned after you're done listening to us. We should have another little snippet afterward, at least one. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening, everyone. Good game.
And remember, too, if you have fun things like this, we will add you to the end of our show.
We will. Just let us know.
Share your stuff with us.
Oh, thanks for listening, everyone. Good game.
Good game.
GG.
GG?
E.T.
If you enjoyed this show and have the quill skill to shriek speech, leave us a 5-star unique critique on iTunes or thrill us with the size of your handbill by spelling goodwill into our tills at patreon.com/grills. We can also be found windmilling around Facebook and YouTube at facebook.com/geekgrills and youtube.com/geekgrills, where we like to chill. Tweet your siren songs where the throngs belong on Twitter at geekgrills, where we're dressed to kill. For more info on the show, though, go to geekgrills.com, where you can find previous episodes, show notes, and current contest information. Send us your psalms and qualms to geekgrills@gmail.com or give us a ring at 508-474-5577, where we can hear your lovely voice sing the zing thing. Thanks for listening!